But do you giggling now, you know? Man's not laughing, you know?
No. You know why? Because I got to hot this man up here. So basically, yeah, you know how like, we got a case that we're working here. And like, I'm like, Rob, yeah. You come to the office? Like, yeah, cool. You're coming in there. Then I see you. You're just walking down the aisle like you own the place, bruv.
Listen.
Come to G-check some managers, innit?
So I tell people, you have to work with confidence, you know?
That you have to, bro. Just the way
confidence.
Just the way that you came in is that you're looking to lick some manager's head off, innit?
You have to walk around with your chest hanging out, make them know. Yeah? The Daya's here, yeah?
No, I know. I like the confidence. I like the confidence.
To make them know, you know? Come on now, man.
No, you have to.
But yeah, man. How you doing, though, bruv?
Bruv, listen. Came off duty a couple of weeks ago. Mazza, but everything seemed to kind of calm down.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's all cool, you know. Everything's all right. You know what I'm saying? I'm all right, you know. I'm all right.
Boy, what's going on with the weather, man?
Yeah, I don't understand. Because, like, do you know what it is? When I came here, it was T-shirt.
Yeah.
Then I just saw the weather and it's like, nah, it's like dead. Let me just wear my little thing and that's it.
No, it's mad. It's like it's raining and it's snowing. I didn't know whether to wear Wellington boots or sliders.
I didn't know as well, you know. I didn't know. I was gonna come, my shorts, but no.
Yeah, it's mad. It's mad. By the way, people, welcome to another episode of The Social Worker and the Mentor, and with yours truly.
You got the social worker,
Nana,
mentor Rob,
and this is episode 2. We have to keep it rolling, bruv, yeah? All right? Consistency, yeah? Remember this, yeah?
100, bruv, listen. Like I said, yeah, there's no 2 black men who will do what me and you're doing, you know?
There's a few.
Is there a few?
Yeah, there's a few.
Okay, all right, cool. There's a few. But come on, we got to angle it differently.
Yeah, there's a few, man. But, being in our line of work, we've got so much topics of conversation. I've got to say, in every angle of rectangle, there's so much different angles we can come from.
Everything.
But you know, due to a conversation in the week, we was talking about social workers, and I remember you from the last session, and was it a lady or and someone said to you, you're a social worker, like it's some disease or something, you know, like, you know, and I was saying to you, I was asking you, why do they have that rep, like, you're a social worker, like to say like it's some off-putting negative thing, which to a degree it does get a bit of a bad rep. So
you're sticking on me, yeah?
Listen, I'm just saying though, when like, you're a social worker. You're a social worker. Or yeah, the social worker people them. So why?
Bro, you know what, yeah? You see this conversation? This is actually a deep convo, innit? Because
hey, listen, drink your water now, you know. Cause
you know.
Listen, I got to now. I'm gonna talk enough today, you know.
Nah, listen. You see, listen. Let me just drink. Let me drink. Hold on.
Yay.
Fam, you know this is a deep convo, innit? Because I think, you know what? I'm actually glad we're having it because there's a lot of, as you said, there's a lot of angles, rectangles. There's a lot of dimensions that I think I need to kind of dissect in terms of, you know, how social workers are perceived, you know, and serious case of you and, you know, our social workers, all we do is come in and take children. It's not like that. I mean, social workers, we don't work in isolation, you know. I've worked with you for a very long time.
Yeah.
We work with mentors, we work with professionals from the health department, so nurses, GPs, health visitors, you know, a wide range of professionals. And I always go back to working together to safeguard children. So it's everybody's responsibility. And there's a section that I always read, and I always read it because it's important, basically outlines, and it says that not one single practitioner has a full picture of the child's needs and circumstances. So it means that all of us, we all have to be responsible for safeguarding children. It's about how the professional network responds. So if, say, a child or young person does die, we should all be accountable. But, bro, you know that obviously doesn't happen. So the main focus is always on what the social worker didn't do, what the council did that was wrong. And the reason why that's a bit kind of like, it's hard for social workers all the time to kind of digest it because obviously we don't work in isolation. Yeah. And there's so many professionals who have contact with that child or with that family. Okay. But we're always the enemy. Do you know what I mean? So people hate social workers.
All right, so to cut you. All right, so, all right. All right, let me do it from this point of view, okay? All right, so in the black ethnic minority group of the community, you know, you talk at parts of South London, West London, East London, and you know, there's certain neighbourhoods that are quite rough.
Yeah.
There are certain neighbourhoods where there's a high rate of crime and youth violence, and we know that young people and families they're struggling right now.
Yeah.
On current topics such as living wages and the cost of living is absolutely awful right now, and it's difficult right now. So you know there's going to be you know, more crime rate or knife crime or gun crime, or there's going to be more poverty and everything, right? Yeah. So when you read back to like past sort of cases in the newspaper, on the news and everything like that, social workers, yes, they don't get a good rep, right? Yeah. But is it because that the social worker has failed to be in depth in helping the family? Is it something that they've missed?
Yeah.
Is it the wrong ethnic group social worker culturally that has dealt with the case?
Yeah.
So what are the multitude of different things that could possibly have gone wrong?
So this is the thing. So what you mentioned about, is it the social worker? So this is the thing. So the perception is always what the social worker didn't do, innit?
Yeah.
And that's why I said before that social workers work with so many professionals. And I think, bruv, what that goes down to is the fact that there's a number of things. So a lot of professionals, when it comes down to risk and responding to children, they don't really like to go and manage it.
Yeah.
So professionals are very good at making referrals to children's social work, and that's it. They're very good at doing that. But when it comes down to managing that risk, they don't know how to. So they're very much anxious. So I think ultimately, the reason why social workers, in my view, are the ones who are regularly kind of like, we're the primary focus when, if a child dies on our fault, is because the focus is really on like the social work process. It's not really focused on what the other professionals have done in the background. So yeah, of course, professionals are there in the background, but by nature of what we do, we're the lead professionals, you know what I mean? So I think the focus doesn't really look at what the multi-agency have done to protect that child.
Okay.
It's always on the social worker. But yes, of course, there's times whereby children who've been killed, there's missed opportunities. Sometimes that assessment that's completed, it hasn't really peeled back or gone underneath to actually address what's going on. Or maybe the professional network, they ain't worked together. But because obviously the focus is on us.
So when you say the professional network, right, yeah, who are the social worker? Who is the social worker working with? What department? Like
Right, yeah.
Who is that?
Yeah, so the social worker, so like I said, we might work with so even what me and you are doing, like that's a partnership, multi-agency partnership. So we work with mentors.
Yeah.
Professionals from the police,
professionals
from health, professionals from education, or from youth offending, or it even goes even wider than that. So there's so many professionals that we work with, do you know what I mean? But I think the emphasis is always on children's social care, because we're the innate ones who kind of manage the case, do you know what I'm saying? But I don't think that culture, in terms of, you know, the blame on the social worker is ever going to change. But I'll always go and say, as professionals, we have to do better. We have to work together. It shouldn't just be, okay, you make a referral and that's it, because your job doesn't go and stop there. It's like, bro, for example, like, we have cases that are referred and that come in. And yes, of course, the school, for example, have made a referral and they're concerned about a child.
Yeah.
All right, fine. We're still involved. We're doing the assessment, or the child may go onto a plan. But say, for example, the child's not in school. And the school will call the social worker like, oh, you know what? The child's not in school. Their attendance is dropping. Before that child had a social worker, what would you have done?
Of course.
You would have referred to education welfare.
100%.
That's what you would be doing. Right. But I think that professional anxiety that, all right, cool, the referral's done, you're the lead professional. I think that's where the problem is. If a social worker's like, bruv, we don't have a choice. When cases come in and we get, you know, whether it's high risk or low risk, social workers, we don't have a choice in terms of the kind of cases that are referred into us. We have to work with it.
Right.
What we kind of need is that we need a professional network to roll with us and be around that team around the child. Do you know what I'm saying?
Do you think, and I'm not saying this actually happens, by the way, right? But do you think that other, maybe the school or a school, or maybe the police, or maybe other departments, they expect the social worker to do everything?
Bruv, do you know what? I'm going to be straight up. I think they do. And
why? Why?
And the reason why, bruv, because don't forget, social work social workers or the council are the lead professionals. Do you know what I mean? But there's a saying in social work, jack of all trades, master of none. So we're the ones who are managing the cases. So I think there's a bit of a kind of like, well, once I'm referred in, what's a social worker going to go and do about it? Do you know what I mean? And I think that culture, it actually needs to change. That whole professional anxiety that, oh, I'm really scared, I've made a referral, or what do we do? How do we tell the parent? And all those sorts of things. It actually needs to change, because prior to a social worker being involved, you would have spoken to that child, you would have spoken to that parent. So now that a social worker is involved, why is it the risk and multi-agency working changes? That's the problem. Like when I've worked with you on cases, when I've worked with you with young people, I never felt that I'm on my own. I don't feel like that. Me and you, we go together, we do visits together. You're there at meetings, you come to conferences. Do you know what I'm saying? But I've never felt that I'm on my own.
Do you think a lot's changed since COVID? So COVID has come. We know that when COVID came, that in terms of safety, safeguarding for the social worker as a professional, you couldn't obviously have just turned up at the house and everything was done by Teams in it or video calls. But then gradually you was able to sort of do the home visit, maybe from afar or outside the gate, whatever, whatnot. So do you think it's changed since then because of that, and people are more like reluctant in terms of the engagement? And
do you know what it is, Ram? Like, I'll be honest with you. So I'm so glad you touched, because I was going to touch upon it. So when COVID actually hit, a lot of people didn't realise, and I think statistically, the referral rate actually went up by 28%. I think most of the cases that came in during COVID, they were either domestic violence cases, or there were children who kind of disclosed that they were being physically harmed within family home. So that professional anxiety actually went through the roof.
Sorry, so when you say professional anxiety, for who? The individuals?
So the professionals, so for example, so when lockdown came, obviously everything was closed. Social workers, we still had to go and see children, but we couldn't go and see children in the family because there was a virus that was happening. Do you know what I mean? I remember doing doorstep visits to go and see children with my mask up. This is even before PPE came in. I had to just go with my scarf and go and see children. Man's all better cover up, you know. Do you know what I'm trying to say, bruv? Literally, safeguarding. You know what I'm saying? But professionals was very, very anxious that the referral skyrocketed. So in terms of how they were feeling, they were like, okay, so all these children are in the home, but this is what we're seeing, or do you know what I mean? So we have to refer it in.
I suppose it was the what's what I'm looking for now. I suppose to a degree it's the they're worrying that they're not gonna meet the needs of the family and the young person.
I think
to a degree
that's always going to be a worry, but I think the other side of it is as well is also about the fact that I have followed through my procedures and I referred it in, but that absolutely hammered children's social workers across the country. And that's where, you know, a couple of children were killed during the pandemic because ultimately social workers were, I wouldn't say we were kind of blindsided because we had to kind of work a bit differently. And ultimately what that meant is that because we didn't have direct contact with these children within the family home, that children who were being harmed, the pandemic was a mask for that. So you have got case review that is coming out. Do you know what I mean? In terms of that. So I think that's another thing that people don't see. The other side of it, bruv, is that because of the stigma of social workers as well, there's a lot of families who may have had previous social involvement who are very evasive with professionals as well. So they might move to different local authorities. They might not send their children into school. There's always like a wave of referrals, and they may not even let the social worker come in. So I've had cases where children have been in child protection plans and the parents have been evasive with me, and I've had to go late, 8 o'clock at night, and knock on the door, and the parents in the house, and turn off the light, and I know the parents there. Do you know what I'm trying to say to you? But that's what I'm trying to say to you. So in terms of when children die, like I will always go and say that professionals have to work better. But sometimes you have got parents who are evasive and ultimately will mask what's going on in terms of what's happening with the children.
All right, I'm going to react to that, okay, yeah? All right, this is from experience, and this is from actually sitting down with quite a few parents. As you know, unfortunately, in the Caribbean, African, in fact, all ethnic minority groups, unfortunately, there are a lot of broken homes. You know, we know that there's a lot of single parent mothers that are raising their children by themselves. We also know that there's when families do break up, that some fathers are not there, but there are some fathers that are there. There are some fathers that are not really there to the potential or how they should be, basically, right? Yeah. All right. So often there are a lot of fathers who feel like, oh yeah, the social worker don't listen to me, or they're like they're left out of all the all the decisions and whatnot, right? Yeah. Now, in the Caribbean community and ethnic minority groups, I'm not going to just say one particular minority group, but it's there's a sense of they feel like they failed as a parent if the social worker is involved. I've actually spoken with a parent, a mother, and she's actually said to me, she goes, Robert, do you know what? Yeah, I feel like I failed. She goes, I feel as a big woman of 3 children that I failed because social care are involved. She said, how can I have someone come and tell me how to be a parent, how I should talk to my son, or when to put them to bed and do this and do that? And she felt silly. And there's a lot of parents like that. And also there's a lot of fathers like that where they feel like not being heard. So in one sense, I understand where they're coming from, you know, where a social worker's come to like knock on the door. They've come to check on Timmy. Timmy might have marks, I don't know, whatnot. The social worker's come to do a check on the parent, or maybe Timmy's not bathing properly. Social worker said to them, listen, start washing Timmy now, you know, yeah? His clothes are smelling, the school's doing the report and everything like that. Yeah. Timmy's still got the problem. People are thinking, right, why is this you not, like, why is his hygiene so bad? So the social worker go to the yard now, knock, knock. But you could hear Buju Banton in the background, yeah? Or some Afro beats and everything, right, yeah? And then zoom, everything just lock off and everything now, right, yeah? So she's thinking, damn, I just want to like, you know, be here with my son and be left alone and everything, right, yeah? Now, maybe mum is mentally unstable. Maybe she's not coping. Maybe she's really, really trying. Or maybe she just feels embarrassed to say, I need help. Yeah. Because there are a lot of like families, I'm going to call it the hard to reach families that they're financially, they're not doing great, you know? Yeah. Right? And especially now, it's a tough time right now. Yeah. You know, I actually got like a little bit emotional the other day, right? Yeah. I forgot to tell you. I done a home visit last week I forgot to tell you about. And the mum just started to cry in front of me. And she said, I've got 2 jobs. I'm a cleaner. Yeah. And she said, I work in a supermarket. And she said, I stack shelves. And she said, I feel stupid. And she said, what am I going to do? She said, I could just about afford to pay the rent, the electric bill, and maybe the TV. And she said, oh, I might have to cut off the Sky. Now, there's many families like that currently right now. There's a lot, yeah. Right, yeah? And then when the social worker comes and tells her, do this and do that, do this and do that, it makes her feel like shit. She feels like crap, do you know what I mean? So I suppose, you know, with going off task, what I'm asking you, what is expected of a social worker in 2022?
All right, so do you know what? What you've mentioned and what you've said, they're very key things and important things. And for like anybody's watching, I know, like I said, because I know people don't like social workers, I can understand when families do feel that I've got a social worker coming in, I'm going to come take my child and all sorts of things. One of the balances that social workers we have to have is there's 2 things. So the first thing is about, and I always say this, that social workers are public sector workers. So one of the things that we have to do is we have to assess, but also we're also there to go and support families. Good social work is about building relationship with families, doing your direct work, you know, and getting to know families and supporting them, because we don't want to be involved longer than we need to. I've had cases of what we talked about, just like whereby there's concerns to do with maybe like neglect, or the young person or child is they might say they appear to be hungry, or their presentation and all those sorts of things. And how I've kind of angled it is I've never gone in with a heavy hand. I've always gone into, I've developed a relationship with the family, say, okay, look, this is what the school have reported, you know, so what's your family set up like? Do you know what I mean? In terms of your finances, you know, what's your finances like at the moment? Do you know, because that's part of the relationship building. So part of that, yes, on the one hand, social work in 2022 is that we want to work with families, build good relationships, get a context to what's actually going on, you know, because it's not just about coming in and telling parents what to do. Do you know what I mean? But we also do, like, you know, financial assessments. We might do referrals to other agencies. We might even support financially, which we do, which I think people don't always see that, which we
Yeah.
jumped on to say. You know, I've even had family meetings where families say, okay, look, school said the children are hungry. You know, what's going on? What's your shopping routine like? And you know, and they might go and say, okay, Nana, have a look round. I'll be like, okay, let's have a look in the fridge. Not because I'm trying to do a check, but I want to get a context. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's one aspect that we have to assess. We have to support families. That's good. So the other balance that we have to have as well is that we have to manage risk as well. Because at the same time, the safeguarding element,
getting the balance right in it,
you can't ignore. And I think for social workers, many feel it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't. If a referral comes in and we don't assess and we leave it and something happens to the child, then ultimately, or the young person, we're liable and we're to blame. But then at the same time, we want to support families and we want to have good relationships. We don't want to be always being seen as the enemy. I mean, bro, it's very, very difficult, you know, like I said on the first episode when I said to you how to even say you're a social worker is hard because people see us as the enemy just for trying to protect them. But at the same time, we want to actually help families too. Do you know what I'm saying?
How important are boundaries and how important are the relationship? So how important is that? So, you know, you talk of, you know, having a relationship, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So how important is a relationship and along with the boundaries with that family?
It's very, very important because at the end of the day, as a professional, you have to always be boundary with family that, you know, that there's an element of safeguarding that I have to do. But at the same time, I want to build a relationship with you, but I don't want to be involved longer than I need to be. Do you know what I mean? I've worked with so many families who've been open to my child protection plans for well over a year or so, and then eventually their case is closed. They stepped down to child in need, and their case is closed. And when I've done the closing visit, I said, Nana, you know what? We've never wanted the social worker to be involved, but to be honest with you, like you've really got us to a place whereby actually things are better, and that's what social workers want to hear. You want to hear from families that, you know what? Yes, we had that anxiety, but we're actually happy you're involved. There's some families sometimes whereby I haven't spoken to them for 2, and sometimes like they might even give me a call for advice. But Nana, you know what? I haven't spoken to you for 3-4 years, but I want to get advice on. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's nice, man.
Which is a nice thing. And they're like, oh, I need advice on this, or on my son or my daughter, or Nana. Oh, guess what? He's in secondary school. She's secondary school. Do you know what I mean? Because you those are relationships that you still have. Do you know what I'm trying to say to you? So that's the part of social that people don't always hear and see. But social workers do want to have good relationships. But at the same time, we can't ignore the safeguarding element because when serious case review happens, ultimately, everyone's going to ask, what is it that you guys did and what is it you didn't do?
Oh, no, all right, so...
Brother, all right, go on. I know he's laughing, but I know he's going to drop something. Go on, just drop it. Just drop the thing, man. Drop the thing.
All right, so...
Go on, ask that hard question.
No, I'm right. Okay, so this is actually a true story. Obviously, due to safeguard, I can't mention any names. But this is a true story.
Data protection, bruv.
Data protection, right? Yeah. DATA.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah, capital P. Yeah, but listen, this is a true story, and one of the the reason why I'm laughing because I remember it like yesterday. This is not me and you, right? Yeah,
right.
This is now. Actually, I'll tell you after, right? Yeah.
All right, go on.
Right, I was mentoring this youth, right? Yeah, and man, no wait. One of the things I got to ask you, right? Yeah, is right. Is a social worker always built for certain situations or a young person? Because listen, I was on a home visit. A social worker come through the door. So I'm looking at the social worker, and obviously, you know, it would be wrong of me to stereotype or look at the social worker. But listen, there was a spirit that I thought, whoa, this is getting left today, right? Yeah, right. So he sitting next to me. I shook his hand. I said, hi, my name's Robert. He introduced himself, you know, he's talking to mum.
Man said the spirit.
And then the youth just saying to him, rah, is that my social worker? Later, he's dead. Oh, shut up, you're wet. I was like, rah, listen, right?
No,
listen.
that's such a good, no,
listen, this is true talk. He said, you're wet. Why are you talking to me for? I was like, rah, nah. So I'm thinking, this, you can't talk to me like that, you know, right? Yeah. And then, oh, like, why are you talking to me like that? I was thinking, right, like, so I go, nah, listen, don't talk to him like that. But I'm just thinking, you're the social worker. But then I just realized, in education, you know, we have a different caseload of young people, and
bruv, you're seen. Don't forget, you're seen differently to social workers. You know.
Let me continue this, right? Yeah. So within about 10 minutes, right, yeah, right, the you come in with a stick. You know, like, a stick from the road. Get out of my house. I'm like, right, what? So I'm saying to you, listen, you need to calm down. So...
No, bro, you know what, yeah?
Sorry, it's not funny. No, wait, I know it's not funny, right, yeah? But I know... I'll never forget this day. So the social worker got up, right, yeah? And he goes, move, get out of my mum's house, man. I thought, right, what just happened? So anyway, I went at the house. I walked the social worker to the car. He said, oh, he's rude. Why is he talking to me like that? And I thought, right, you're the social worker.
bro.
Yeah, bro. No.
Yeah, but fam.
Now, sorry, before you continue,
go,
right?
go,
Right.
go,
Okay,
go.
right. Now, as a professional, I'm supposed to, support my fellow education practitioner, or whatever, whatnot. And I'm never going to allow anything harmful happen to him, right? Yeah. But the point I'm just trying to make in that particular incident, I thought, right, did they check out this social worker? And did they tell the social worker this is who you're working with, or rather, did his manager do that? The case study and match him with the right person.
Yeah, but...
You're where? Get out of my house now. I'm like, wow, what?
But
true story, you know, by the way.
No, I know, but Rob, what you got to understand is this,
there's levels to this thing, man. Like,
listen, let me say something,
yeah.
You see when cases get referred, innit?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, not that you have a choice, innit? But as a manager, what I'll be doing is, like, I would look at the themes in the case and be like, okay, cool. Who's really, like the skill set of the social worker. That's what I'll do.
Yeah,
so
sure.
like when I used to get gang cases of young people, you know, my managers were like, Nana, yeah, that's for you. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I know how I work with young people. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe like for me, not just that, but it might be that, you know what, he's actually very good at relationship working with families, so he can do that. It's just like, for example, like domestic violence cases.
Yeah.
So some domestic violence cases, like, you wouldn't give to a male social worker, and it's the mum and the children. You wouldn't, because the parents might go and say, actually, no, I want a female social worker. Do you know what I mean? I want a woman who can actually relate to me. I don't want a male social worker. Yeah, you're a social worker, but you're a man at the end of the day. So what we have to do is we have to kind of look at the themes of the case, look at the skill set of the social worker to see, okay, who can take this. But sometimes it's not even down to that. Sometimes you just get the case.
All right, do you know
what I'm saying?
All right, so I suppose what I'm asking you, right, is this is another example. And another it's like I could be here all day telling you about stories with social workers, right? Yeah. And as I said before, I'm not like, listen, I've got so much respect for social workers.
But remember, bro, but one thing, bro, you got to say is that, and what you're saying though, I do hear you, but also remember, like,
no, the question I'm going to ask you though, brother, is this, right? Yeah, right. So I'm going to give you this quick example of what happened, but then I'm going to ask you my question, right? Yeah. All right. So working with a young person, the social worker was able to get him some clothing allowance. The young person, unfortunately, had to be taken out of the care of his mother into care, and then the social worker managed to get him some money to buy some clothing. So he said to the young person, right, we're going to go to Primark and get some pants and underwear. Later, I'm not going with you. I thought, right? And then I just thought, but the social worker was quite softly spoken. Yeah. And then I just thought, no, what's going on here, right? Yeah, do you know what I mean? So the question I'm asking you, how important as a social worker is mental toughness? Because, how important is that? Because remember, listen. Let me say something.
Do you know what you've just said? Yeah. Do you know how resilient as social worker you have to be? You like even like
male and female, by the way.
Male and female. Yeah. You have to be so like mentally strong anyway, but you have to also be very resilient, because the reality is, imagine you're in a profession where everybody thinks you're clapped. Everybody thinks you're clapped.
Why though? What is it?
Listen,
like,
let me tell you. You're in a profession that everybody thinks you're clapped.
Yeah.
Even down to the government. So imagine it. You got members of the public who think you're clapped. You got the government who think you're clapped, and you got the families you're working with who think you're clapped. Just by nature of you being a social worker, because
do you think it's not respected?
Bruv, you think it's respected? Listen, bruv, let me tell you something. Social work is not a respected profession, bruv. Nobody respects social workers. Nobody respects. Okay, no, nobody respects the job that we do. When you've got a government who's talking about how we've gone and failed. But are we not living in an age of austerity though? You man are talking about how we need to be giving a better service to families, yeah, and rightly so, and safeguarding. But you man are the same people who were sucking out the resources and the money.
Yeah.
How are you giving children's services across the country? You're basically disarming us, and then you want us to do a good job. You're sucking, and then on top of that, you've got enough social workers who are leaving. So many social workers are leaving profession anyway.
Oh, so
yeah,
right. Right, we spoke about this, right? Yeah,
yeah, we did. I know,
and we spoke about that local authority as a whole. It doesn't matter whether it's north, south, east,
don't
west. There's over 50 boroughs.
Yeah, and then you got the shires outside of London. Yeah.
Okay, right. Yeah, and one thing that is consistent, unfortunately, and I thought, whoa, this is like, you know, you just think it's 2 or 3, but in a lot of local authority council and boroughs, right? Yeah. There's a high turnover of social work, but why though, bruv? What? Like, it can't just be this. It can't just be the caseload. Like, what is it? Like,
but Rob, you know what it is?
What is it?
Okay, it's
and why?
Lack of resources. Is lack of resources. It's high caseloads. It's also pay, and a lot of it also is also stigma as well. Do you know what I mean? And I think a lot of social workers feel that, you know, actually I can't have the, particularly child protection, I can't have the stress. It's like what I was saying to you, how we're not respected. It's like case review. When that happens, imagine if you're that social worker, that's it, you're getting clapped up. Do you know what I'm trying to say? You know, the whole stigma, you're going to come and take my child away. Yeah. So like, people don't, so like, even the vulnerability of the profession, like a lot of people don't go and see that. Social workers, there's social workers who cry. You know, like, yes, we've got a job to do, but we're also people. Do you know what I mean? But by virtue of what we do, you're a child snatcher. I mean, even that, I even got to address that. So there's a notion that we just come in and take children away. Yeah. So I've got to be very clear.
That's so true in the, how can I word this now? Yeah, in the, no, I'm gonna say it.
Okay, yeah, but let me land it.
Yeah.
So there's a whole notion that social workers just come and we just take children away. I've even heard that, you know, we get bonuses for removing children, and like, I'll tell you the truth, yeah. So when it comes to children, yeah, being removed from the family home, in all the 8 years that I've been a social worker, I've never walked into a family home and just taken a child just like that. Because no social worker, you don't have any, you have no legal jurisdiction to walk into a family home and take a child away. In terms of what actually happens, and this is me being technical now, we have to go through every single threshold, when working with families, So we can't just go in and take a child from the family home at all. It's the family court arena that sanction whether the children's services, we get either an interim care order or emergency protection order. So it's the courts are the ones that sanction it, but no social worker can go and just remove a child. You can't do that. In America, you see in the US, from what I've read or remember, their child protection services, they can go in and take a child. In America, they don't even need any legal order. But for us, we can't just go and do that. So we don't just go in and remove children away from the family home. And I think that's what families think. No, it's not. That's what I'm saying to you, fam.
They're thinking it's you guys.
They think it's us guys,
but it's not.
But the court has to sanction. And then even when you get into the legal arena, before you even get to court, there's a section or there's an arena. It's called public law outline. It's called pre-proceedings. So it means that maybe we've got concerns, the child protection plan isn't working, and we've escalated to say, okay, we've got to go into the court arena. We're basically knocking on court's door. But we meet with families and parents and say to them, look, we're this concerned, we're thinking about going to court, but we still want to work with you, do you know what I mean, to actually address the concerns. But we have to do it in the pre-proceedings arena. So even that as well, that notion, like I said, I've never walked into a child's home and taken them out just like that. You can't. And a lot of parents, when I've gone on the door, have said, you're going to come take my child away? No. This is the referral that we've received.
I think what it is, bro.
Come in.
And I'm going to say it. So in the black community now, you know, I'm a black man, you know, I'm Caribbean, got many friendship groups, family, colleagues. Caribbean, African minority groups. So in the black community, bro, that is the point of view from the black community, right?
Yeah, I know.
Social workers, they do have a negative reputation, right? Yeah. I do believe it's changing. I do believe it's set out of frustration because of their situation. But I mean, are social workers to be protected in their job role? And do you guys feel protected in terms of you're being supported by, you know, your management team, just as a social worker as a whole, being protected, feeling validated and appreciated? Because it's a tough job. It's very tough.
I think, bruv, to be honest with you, I think the job that we do, I mean, like I said, it goes different for different local authorities. I mean, I'm not going to say that managers don't want to protect their staff. You know, they want to do their best to protect staff, you know, having your supervisions, your one-to-one, to be protected as your caseload. But I think the reality of it is that it's very much challenging times for the profession. The fact that a lot of social workers are leaving as well. The fact that you know, case review as well also comes out as well, to be honest. So, you know, at times we're still very much kind of like demonized, to be honest with you. Do you know what I mean? And it's very, very difficult. I mean, I can tell you, even with that, for example, you know, as a social worker, done home visits late, I could wake up the following day and a child's been killed, you know. I could have gone and seen a child, say 8 o'clock at night, and I can wake up the following day to find out that child has been killed. See what I'm saying?
Right, so quick question, because I know we have to end this session soon, this episode soon, right? But just quick thing, and I know that's what I'm saying, there's so much.
There's so much, yeah.
But you know, brother, sorry, we're going to come back to this anyway, yeah? But you work with a family, and unfortunately, the young person maybe might have been stabbed, or something serious has happened to him. When you work as a social worker with that family for a long period of time, how do you actually feel when you hear that sort of news? Like, how does it make you feel mentally and emotionally as a social worker, as a human being, and I suppose as a man? Because that's a lot of different emotions. Like, how does one deal with that? Yeah,
I mean, it's hard. I mean, imagine, as you said, you're working for a long time, and you know that young person, and they've been stabbed. Do you know what I mean? You automatically think there's a part of you that's failed. You feel as though that young person's being stabbed on my watch. Like, even say, for example, you were seeing that young person on a regular basis, and you've done what you can. You've done your visits. You know what I mean. You've got a good relationship. You actually feel like, raw. Like, that man's actually failed, you know. You go home and you're like, shit. Like, raw. My man actually got stabbed on my case. Like, that's what I'm trying to say to you. So we hurt. Social workers hurt as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're also, you know, we've also got our own kind of vulnerabilities. Do you know what I'm trying to say to you? So it's a very, very kind of hard thing, you know, when that's happened. And like I said, even with case review, is very, very, very difficult. But the reality of it, and difficult thing, and this is the honest thing that I have to say, social workers, we're not there 24/7. To be honest, we're not. And believe me, if we were there 24/7, then case review actually wouldn't exist. If we were inside the family, it wouldn't exist. So we can't, because we're not there 24/7, we can't stop that from happening. If that makes it, and it's something that I think later on in my career that I actually had to accept that, you know, actually, there's gonna be sometimes whereby no matter how consistent you are, there might be some children who are gonna be harmed. It might be that you're gonna get blocks from parents, and that child is being harmed. And do you know what I'm trying to say? It's a very, very difficult thing to accept, because, like I said, we're there 24/7. We can safeguard all children. Serious cases wouldn't exist, but what we have to start learning from, and one of the things I want to touch upon quickly before we wrap up, the case review that's come out for Arthur Hughes and Star Hobson. One of the things that was touched upon was about the fact that professionals at times, we take what parents say under face value, and sometimes we can't. Sometimes as professionals, we have to actually challenge parents. Not as in like come with a heavy hand. But we have to challenge parents when what's being said to us and the referral and what the child is saying is not marrying up. That doesn't mean to say that we're coming in to remove children. But ultimately, there's a lot of children, we call them the invisible children, potentially could be missed, because potentially there's actually stuff going on. But because
you haven't challenged it.
Because we haven't challenged it properly, that ultimately that child is missed, or that child is harmed. And that's what was kind of talked about in terms of Star Hughes and after the fact that, you know, referrals were coming in. And it was kind of like what the parents said was kind of like that was taken as it is.
I hear that,
But as professionals, when it comes to safeguarding and social workers, one thing I know, we're always going to get abused and cussed. We'll be demonized no matter what we do.
Yeah.
Whether we're supporting families, whether we're managing the risk, it's kind of like the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to those particular cases, and you mentioned it earlier about hard to reach families or invasive families who may very much be aware of, you know, our processes. When it comes down to children, we have to make sure we do our best
Be on point in that,
to protect children. And whether that stigma means that we come in and take children away, which I know that stigma is even not going to change. It will never ever change. But whereby we have to challenge parents.
Yeah.
We have to challenge them and be open. But I also think the professionals working with parents, they have to be transparent. I just want to just give one example, because I remember one time there was a case that I had. This was like early on in my social work career. Child protection case. Family been known to the local authority for a very long time.
Yeah.
The professionals were very intimidated by this parent. And when it came down to highlighting the concerns, they were very much able to say it to me, to say, oh, yes, we've got concerns. Oh, this parent is a bully, and all those sorts of things. But when it came down to the actual big meetings, didn't go and say anything. And I had to go and say that I'm quite disappointed that professionals have got concerns. I'm not saying it.
Yeah.
But I had to tell the parents straight when the parents were like, no, you're this. Right. And I said, no, I'm be honest. Yeah. I've got these concerns. But professionals didn't really say anything. Yeah. And I said, so what's the point of working together? What's the point of working together to safeguard children if you can't even talk about the concerns?
And everything, you're freely,
openly, you have to.
100%.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you know?
man. Well, listen, brother. Listen, listen, on a real, so I know some fantastic social workers. I know a lot of great social workers, and more importantly, man, listen, like I know they're really making a difference. They want to make a difference.
Yeah,
you know.
100%.
Remember, like working with young people and being a social worker, it's not just for the money. It's because they want to make a change. Do you know what I mean? And that's the most important thing: making a change, making a difference. And it's getting harder. You know, families are really struggling out there. I mean, like me and you know and everything.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, it's just nice when you know you've got that support. And I think what's quite important as well, you know, there's a lot of talk about mental health and well-being, and it's just you know making sure that you know like with these these caseloads of 22, you know, it's a lot, man.
It's a lot.
So mentally, if you're not okay mentally and you're not okay emotionally, what good are you to like trying to help these families and everything? Because you're gonna suffer and struggle.
That's what
I'm
saying,
coming
bro,
from, man. So
bruv, because there's times whereby like I've had burnout and bruv, I'm tired, and I said, you know what? No, you know, I can't even do this no more. You know.
Yeah.
Like some of them, I'm like, no, I'm tired. I can't actually do this no more. Even when you've taken annual leave and you want to rest and everything, you can't. Do you know what I mean? And then that's compounded by.
It's a lot, man. It's a lot.
It's a lot, bro. Combined by what's going on in it, but
yeah, man.
It's tough.
By the way, people, them.
Trust me, social worker.
It's been nice. It's been nice. It's been nice. Yes, later.
Yes.
Yeah,
Save
nice.
people, man.